Is it true or is it a myth that if you have a TV apparatus that is capable of receiving live TV signals, that you need a TV license? Now, I'll deal with that in this video. Now, I didn't intend for this second video on this repurposed, rebranded channel, Black Belt Barrister at Home, to also be on TV licensing, as was my one yesterday. That one was only because that was the first thing that popped into my inbox that I looked for something to talk about. So I thought I'd talk about it because I had an email from someone in the armed forces who was terrified of having, coming back from fighting for our country to find these threatening letters on his doorstep from TV licensing. So I did that video yesterday. But I'll do another one today to answer this question. Is it true or is it a myth? Because someone in the comments decided to take every single word and try to analyze them and catch me out. People do that sometimes, and I find it somewhat entertaining. As my grandfather always used to say, there's always one, isn't there? So this commenter said, how can you misrepresent the law like that? Because in my video yesterday, I said that the offense is watching or recording live TV without a license, which it is. I stand by that. And I said that that's what the law says. Now, when I said that about the law, let me tell you why I say that, because that is what it means and it is what it says. Whether word for word or not is another matter. But even the TV licensing website clarifies it is to watch or record live TV or use BBC iPlayer or on-demand programs by the BBC, which is iPlayer, which is what the legislation covers. Now, the point of the fact is the use of a television receiver is not expressly defined by the Communications Act, but it is explained in conjunction between the Communications Act 2003 and the Communications TV Licensing Regulations of 2004, specifically Regulation 9.1. which is where, speaking of the installation or the use of a television receiver, it says that a person installs or uses a television receiver if they install or use it for the purpose of receiving any television program service. And a television program service being a live program or an on-demand one provided by the BBC, by which they mean iPlayer. But the wording there, whilst it may not use the words watch TV, what it means is that you've installed or used it for the purpose of receiving the television program service. Now, purpose means intent. It requires intent. Cannot be accidental. You cannot accidentally watch something. I don't know how that would work. It is a purpose, purposefully doing something. So some offences in law are strict liability. Illicit substances, for example, if you are found in possession of something which is classified as an illicit substance, that is a strict liability offence. I've just realised I've got the sun on my face here, but I am at home and it's a nice sunny day, so such as it is. I'll try and move. I won't. I'll just sit here. So some of those are strict liability offences, and it doesn't matter if you intended to have it on your person or not. It may be a mitigation. There may be mitigation there if you didn't really intend to have those substances on you. Dealing them, selling them, that is a different offence, requires the intent, and you're selling them and so on. That is a different offence. But as regard to TV licensing, the offence is installing or using a television receiver for the purpose of receiving a television program service. So if you've worked that out by now, being capable of receiving the signal is not the offence. It is installing it for the purpose. So if you have installed it for that purpose, they have to prove that that's why you installed it, not just that it's capable, because, the old argument used to be is if it's plugged into an aerial for live TV, and this was before on-demand service and so on. Now, if you've installed it for that purpose, or you're using it for that purpose, then obviously the intention is behind it. But these days, you have a whole range of equipment that could, in theory, receive a live television service, such as a laptop. So run through the scenario. You buy a laptop from a store. You bring it home, you open it up, you go to YouTube, you play a video that is on demand, which is perfectly fine. And then let's say that you've got the autoplay that's available on YouTube, and then it trips over onto a live program, but you're off making a cup of tea. Now, you've not installed anything for that purpose, and you're not using it for that purpose. Therefore, you haven't committed that offence, because you are not using it for that purpose, and you've not installed it for that purpose. Now, this, granted, would stand to be tested in court, and you may or may not convince a magistrate that that's what happened. Nonetheless, what I said yesterday is, if you could prove that you were doing something else, you're on the phone or whatever, then it would be a question of fact for the court to determine, which is why I would always say, if you strongly believe that you didn't do that. Let's take that scenario, for example. You've gone off to make a cup of tea. That's absolutely what happened. You didn't watch it. You certainly didn't install it for that purpose. You've not used it for that purpose. You were off making a cup of tea, or you were on the phone. If there was someone else in the house and you made them a cup of tea and you went off and you had a cup of tea together or whatever, and it was playing in the background, they could provide a witness statement, along with yourself providing a witness statement, to rebut the prosecution so-called evidence that you were using it for that purpose. And the judge may or may not agree with you. But if you say that on oath and you are cross-examined, and the judge or magistrate, because this will be in the magistrate's court, if they believe your evidence, then they're not going to convict you, because you've not installed it for the purpose and you've not used it for that purpose. The fact that it ran on that machine is another matter. Now, another thing people get all sort of upset about is, this video is not sponsored, but that's one reason that I do promote NordVPN on my channels. Because it provides a level of anonymity with your IP address. Therefore, it would make it extremely difficult for anyone to track what you're doing online and pin you down to any kind of activity. And, I don't encourage anyone to break the law. I'm not saying use this and go break the law. I'm not saying that. I would never encourage anyone to do that. But if you'd accidentally tripped into that scenario, something like NordVPN would prevent you from having your IP address linked to that activity. Obviously, being logged in and, all that sort of stuff might make things more difficult, but that's by the by. And on my other channels, I am sponsored by NordVPN, and you get 4 months free using which is an affiliate link in the description. I've always made clear that's an affiliate link. Some people get upset. In fact, someone even reported me to my regulator for saying in one of my previous videos that it was not a sponsored segment, because when it is sponsored, it's clear that it's sponsored. And when it's not sponsored, equally, I like to tell you this is not sponsored. NordVPN have not paid me to talk about that in this, certainly not on this channel. But as you know, the links are below, and all my links down there, it makes clear that they are affiliate links, but by the by. So that's why I promote that. It gives you a layer of anonymity. And for me, that would make their job more difficult as a prosecutor, trying to prosecute you for this offence, because one of the things that they use to prosecute you is an IP address. Another is obviously logging in. Beyond that, the biggest cause of people being prosecuted, and the biggest reason people actually get convicted of this offence, there's two reasons. The two biggest reasons people get convicted of this offence. One is they admit guilt. They literally plead guilty because they don't want to be prosecuted. They don't want to go to court, so they plead guilty because they don't want to be found guilty. They just want to get it done with. The second reason is they're found guilty because of something they said. And that is usually something along the lines of, "Oh, I didn't realize I needed a license to do this," or "Yes, we might watch it now and again," or something like that, on the doorstep, on the forms that are filled out by these TV licensing officers, or on the phone, or any of these kind of things. One of the biggest reasons is when people admit to something that would amount to this offence if they do that without a license. So I hope that's helpful, but those are the biggest reasons people get caught out. But genuinely, if you are not watching or recording live TV or using BBC iPlayer for BBC content, another thing that someone got really sort of uppity with me about was when I mentioned about S4C. Literally took the time to email me and say, you're wrong about S4C. You do need a license for it. The reason they said I was wrong is they asked ChatGPT. Now, if you've seen my videos of ChatGPT recently, you'll know that ChatGPT is not always correct. So they stuck it into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT said, yep, you need a license, even for S4C. That's how ChatGPT sounds in my head, but that's not true. Even the TV licensing website says you don't need a license for S4C because it is not provided by BBC, is my understanding. And it is only on-demand services provided by BBC, albeit on iPlayer, that is caught by the legislation because they realise that if you, out with live TV broadcasts on their on-demand service was not caught. Therefore, they changed the legislation to catch BBC iPlayer, so you need a license for that. I also saw another comment early this morning. Thank you all so much, by the way, for subscribing to this new repurposed channel. Finally, one of the comments I saw early this morning was someone had confused this whole situation, thinking that the license only applies to BBC content. And, to be fair, unless you've read the legislation, unless you've looked at the TV licensing website, and unless you read in full the letters that come out from TV licensing, in their defense, unless you read those in full, you wouldn't know that it applies to any live broadcast from any country, from any television broadcast provider. But the one thing that I do have an issue with is that they do not provide, and there is not a definitive list of television broadcast companies to which this license applies. I wrote to them some years ago now, and they would not provide one. They do not have one, and so they couldn't tell me a definitive list. So I think that's an issue. I think that's a big issue. But there we are. That's today's installment, and we have the sun, which we are enjoying now. So thank you for joining me here at Black Belt Barrister at home for more content here, more relaxed style chit chat. But let's have none of this sort of rudeness in the. It's only literally, I think, one person. The rest of you are very nice and supportive. I'm very grateful to you for that. But like my grandfather always used to say, there's always one. But I thought I'd clarify because if they thought that, albeit rudely, some other people might think that as well. And that being capable of receiving it requires a license, which it doesn't. It's not the being capable bit that counts. It is the purpose, installing it for the purpose, or using it for that purpose. That's what the regulations mean. That's what the combination of the Communications Act 2003 and the Communications TV Licensing Regulations 2004, Regulation 9.1 mean. I hope that's helpful. Please do subscribe to the channel and keep watching. And thank you all so much.